Alright, so it's another Sunday in beautiful Southwest Florida, and once again I find myself in the kitchen, and you know, I love a good challenge, and today I'm going to be challenged with a recipe, and you know, going into making this, I don't know how it's going to come out, you know, so it's kind of a little, I'm feeling a little brave, you know, putting this out there on YouTube. But anyway, for people that have been following me for years, you know that I love Budapest. I've always loved Budapest. If you go to Magyarország, which is Hungary, you're going to find some of the best sweets in the world. They love their sweets. So I picked up this recipe book, and it's called Hungarian Cakes, Quick and Easy. You can see that. Hungarian Cakes, Quick and Easy. And this is the cookbook that you'll find like in a little gift store or something. And it's got some fantastic cakes in here. So I was kind of looking through, and I found this cake here, which is called a Creamy Walnut Cake. And you know, it sure looks good, but I'm not sure if I'm going to be able to make it. If you look at that picture of cake there, they've got 4 layers. So they tell you to what they do. They tell you that they give you the recipe for the dough, and which would be batter, you know, not dough. But I'm not very good at making bread. But they say for the dough, you're going to use 250 grams of finely chopped walnuts, 100 grams of pumpkin seeds, 6 eggs, 100 grams of flour, 8 tablespoons of icing sugar, which I had to Google because I've never heard of icing sugar, but it's confectioner's sugar, and half a teaspoon of cinnamon. And then for the filling, which would be the frosting, you're going to have 200 grams of icing sugar, confectioner's sugar, and 400 milliliters of cream. So it says it takes 50 minutes and 16 slices, and going in, you know, you got to do all the conversion. For example, I have to preheat the oven to 180 degrees Celsius, so I'll have to convert that. And they're a little bit vague on how to do this. They tell you to line a cake tin, one cake tin, with baking paper and pour in the mixture and bake. They don't tell you how long to bake, you know. So they say when it's cool, slice it into 4 equal parts. So I'm trying to envision how I'm going to slice one cake into 4 equal parts. And somebody was just telling me that maybe I could use dental floss. So maybe I'll use dental floss. I'll make sure it's clean dental floss, you know. But anyway, I'm going to go ahead and get started. And to get started, it says to, I've got to get the 250 grams of finely chopped walnuts. I'll do that here in a moment. But it says to separate the egg whites from the yolks. So there's 6 eggs, and I'm going to separate those all from the yolks. And then I'm going to beat the eggs into a stiff froth. So let's get started, and let's start beating those eggs, okay? By the way, if you hear a little stuff on the stove behind me, while I'm making this creamy walnut cake, I'm also making quinoa stuffed bell peppers. You'll see the quinoa stuffed bell peppers, and that is just a fantastic recipe that I'll make, and I'll freeze these. So today I'm making a double batch of quinoa stuffed bell peppers. But the video here is not about the bell peppers. It's all about this creamy walnut cake. So let's go ahead and start beating those yolks. Alright, so I've separated the yolks from the whites, as you can see here. So what the recipe says to do, it says to beat the whites into a froth, and then we're going to fold in, I guess, the yolks. So I'm going to pour the yolks in this bowl here, and it says 8 tablespoons of the icing sugar, which is the confection sugar. So I'm going to go ahead and put in 1 edge, got to, bottom, nilch, 4, and then there's 5, 6, 7, 8, about 8, I think that's right. So anyway, so I've got that mixed into there, and it says to mix the yolks with the sugar and fold into the whites. So I should have a nice little beater here, and I'm just going to mix the yolks with the sugar. There we go. I'm going to do this before I do the whites, so it's ready to go. So that's getting mixed in with the sugar. Actually looks pretty good. I hope this recipe turns out. I was trying to figure out what the recipe is brown, you know, the cake, it's a brown color, but I was wondering where it gets the brown from, you know, because it's just flour and cinnamon. And then I saw that it's the 8 ounces of finely ground walnuts, and I think that's what's going to give it its brown. I think that's what's going to give it its brown coloring. So let's go ahead. I've got that mixed in. Let's put the egg whites in right here. And pour these right into there. Now again, you know, I'm kind of new to this, so we are going to beat the egg whites into a stiff froth. So I'm not quite sure I know what a stiff froth is, but we'll figure it out. I'm sure if my mom were here, she would know what a stiff froth was. But we'll just try to beat that into a stiff froth. And turning it up high. I guess I could Google what does a stiff froth look like. But that looks like I think that's a stiff froth. Alright, I think that's a stiff froth. We'll turn it down. Yeah, that's a stiff froth if I ever saw one. Look at that. That's gotta be a stiff froth. Have you ever seen, I mean, I'm just saying, if I could get this thing off. Have you ever seen such a stiff froth as this? Okay, well, maybe I'm not going to get it off. But you can see the, maybe if I zoom in just a little bit. There you go. There's your stiff froth right there. Okay. Now it says to mix the yolks with the sugar and fold into the whites. So fold into the whites. If I'm not mistaken, I think that's just kind of like take a spatula and fold that in. So I'm going to get this. I'm going to get this mixer separated from the bowl separated from the mixer, and I'm going to fold in the egg yolks. Alright, so I got the bowl separated, and you can see that if that isn't a stiff froth, I don't know what is. So I'm just kind of mixing that around. Now I'm going to fold in the eggs, the egg yolks with the sugar. So I'm just going to separate that. I think I need a camera crew, you know. So at some point in time, I'm going to have to get myself a camera crew to help me with these videos. So now we're going to fold in. I'm going to fold in the eggs just like this. I hope I did this alright. I don't know if I folded, I don't know if the, I'm seeing some egg whites down in the bottom, and maybe I didn't make it, do it long enough, but we'll see. We'll see what happens. Okay, so there's the egg yolks. Now I have to then mix and add the flour, the walnuts, and the cinnamon, and the pumpkin seeds. So I'm going to do that. I got to measure. First I have to convert 100 grams of flour, so I'll be right back. Alright, so we're cooking here. Here goes the the 250 grams of the finely ground walnuts. Alright. And then it turned out that the 100 grams of flour was 3.5 ounces, and it also wanted 100 grams of pumpkin seeds. So I'm going to go ahead and put that all in. Hope this turns out. Now I'm just gonna mix this all up and see what we get here. Hopefully it'll turn out well. I can already see it starting to turn the color. I got to put the cinnamon in. So let's get the cinnamon going. I have to put in 1/2 of a teaspoon of the cinnamon. Okay. What is that saying? A 1/2 teaspoon of cinnamon helps the medicine go down, or something like that. So look at that. It's actually looking pretty good. It's starting to look like, well, they call it dough, but it's starting to look like batter to me. Alright. So we'll mix this up just a little bit more. I'm going to put it into a pan, a cake tin that's lined with baking paper. Look at that. There you go. Okay, so let's get this into a lined cake tin. I'm kind of struggling with today's recipe, but hopefully it'll come out. Okay, so there's my cake tin, and I lined it with some baking paper, or parchment paper if you will. So let's go ahead and pour this batter, if you want to call it batter or dough. We'll pour this right into the cake tin. I'm really hoping that this turns out well. I'm going to have to slice this into 4 slices. So we'll see how that all goes. Alright. Now I'm just going to have to level that out. There you go. Alright. So hopefully this is gonna turn out well. We'll put it in the oven here and we'll see what comes out. Alright, so it's actually been just over 24 hours since I took this cake out of the oven. And you know, I say 24 hours because I was running a little bit late. And also I was a little bit surprised when I took this out, because what you'll see here, there's my cake. So I don't know, as far as slicing that into four slices, I'm not quite sure about that. And it feels rather heavy, you know. So unless I can cut this in half, I'm going to try to cut this in half, maybe with some dental floss or something like that. Unless I can cut this in half, I'm not going to bother making the second half, which would give me four layers. But anyway, we'll give it our best shot. All right, instead of the dental floss, I think I'm going to opt for a large bread knife, if you will. So we'll see if I can actually cut this in half or not. It's going to be a challenge, to say the least, because it is actually pretty hard. But we'll give it our best shot here. Okay, so I didn't make it very far. Didn't make it very far with the bread knife nor the dental floss. But I was shopping yesterday, and the sales rep said, "You got to get one of these ceramic knives. They're really, really sharp, and you'll just love it, and they're on sale for $5.99. So I got one of these little ceramic knives, and lo and behold, look at this. I was able to cut that cake fairly good in half, or good enough, you know. So you can see it's got all the pumpkin seeds and everything. So let's proceed. I'm going to try to make the other half and see if we can't end up with a nice overall end result. Give it a little taste here. Not bad. Alright, so let's continue on. Alright, so the third and fourth layer, if you will, has just come out of the oven, and I sliced it. Not too bad, actually. You can see all the sunflower seeds in the cake. Actually, this is a rather healthy cake. A lot of walnuts, just a little bit of flour, and the sunflower seeds and cinnamon, you know, and then you have the egg. So there's the slices that you see, and now we got to make the the frosting, if you will. So we'll get started on that. Okay, as luck would have it, as soon as I pulled out the second cake, the official taste tester arrived. Okay, come on over here.
Cake.
So here is the taste. You might want to fix your hair.
Oh.
Yeah. Okay. Here's the taste tester. So when I'm cooking stuff, I run it by him, and if it passes the dad test, then I know that it came out okay, right?
Right.
Okay. So today I'm making something special.
What?
All right. I bought this book over in Budapest called Hungarian Cakes.
Yeah, I saw that.
Easy and quick.
Why?
Okay. Did your mother used to cook? You're Hungarian.
Yeah.
Your mother was Hungarian, your father was Hungarian. Did your mother ever make this? It's a creamy walnut cake.
Well, it looks good.
It looks good.
I don't know if she ever made that, but it looks good.
Alright, so I'm going to make it, and then I'll let you taste it. Okay, and if it's good, then maybe we'll give a piece to the neighbors.
Okay.
Alright. So let's make the frosting. Okay, so here comes the fun part, and that is the making the frosting, or as the recipe calls it, the filling. So filling, frosting, it doesn't matter, it's all good, you know. So interestingly enough, this frosting, it calls for 200 grams of icing sugar, which is the confectioner's sugar. Is it confectioner or confection? I don't know. Anyway, it's that real fluffy white sugar. And then 400 milliliters of cream. You know, and the recipe calls for cream, and I don't know what, necessarily what that means. So I went out and I bought some heavy whipping cream, you know. And it's funny, you walk through the supermarket and you're looking for this and looking for that. And I always go up and I'll approach the women that look like they might cook, you know. and it's they oftentimes they'll think that you're flirting with them or hitting on them or something like that. But this one woman in the dairy section yesterday, I was showing her my little recipe book, and she said that you take the cream, the heavy whipping cream, and you just whip it until it's almost like a whipped cream. So this says to what does it say? When cool, slice into for the filling, whip the cream and add the sugar. So let's go ahead and do that. It's 200 grams of icing sugar and 400 milliliters of cream, and that equates to about 7 ounces of confectioner sugar and about 13.5 ounces of cream. So let's get whipping, okay? All right. So as you can see, I've got the blender on not blender. What do you call this? The mixer. Going on full speed, and I'm whipping this cream, and it's starting to get a nice texture to it, a nice well, frosting-like texture. So there you go. Wow, look at that. Now I just need to add the sugar. All right, so look at the. I guess that looks like whipped cream, doesn't it? It would make sense, right? I bought cream and I whipped it, so There's your whipped cream. I've never done that before. Now it says to add the sugar. So let's go ahead and add the sugar. I'm not sure if I need to add the sugar as it's whipping or what have you, but we'll figure it out, I'm sure. All right. I'm just going to try to add the sugar this way. I know everybody out there, all the women out there are probably saying that I need one of those little attachments for the bowl, you know, to add this type of stuff. But nonetheless, there goes my sugar. I turned the speed down. I think I just need to mix the sugar in. All right. I'll turn it up just a little bit. Fantastic. Alright, so needless to say, the next step is to take this filling and just kind of spread it around. And this was always always an art. I remember when I would watch my mom in the kitchen growing up in Euclid, Ohio. My mom was the ultimate in the kitchen. Most if not all of my skills at cooking and passion for cooking came from growing up in Euclid, Ohio, and spending time with Mom in the kitchen cooking. I think my mom even had I think she even had a cake decorating business at one point in time. She used to have all those fancy things, and she could make flowers on the cakes and all that kind of stuff. But you're not going to see any flowers on my cake. I'll be lucky just to get this all frosting. I hope that I don't run out of frosting by the 4th layer, but we'll see. All right, so there you have there you have it, creamy walnut cake. I don't know that it well, I can't really say that it looks like can I get the photo in here? Well, it doesn't look like the photo, but does it ever look like the photo? So this is all that's left, and then I frosted it. And if you thought this was going to be a lesson in how to frost a cake, you know, you'd be wrong. I think I'd have to fly my mom in from Cleveland to give a lesson on how to frost a cake. But nonetheless, you know, as the saying goes, cake is served. Let's see how it does with the official taste tester. Okay, so the official taste tester is taking his seat. Okay, and he's going to have a little of this cake to let us know if it's good or not. Okay, you've tasted a lot of cake over the years, right? Okay, so we'll see. I mean, I'm really curious to know how good this cake is here.
It's a Hungarian cake.
It's a Hungarian cake. Okay, he's going in for the first bite.
Great.
Is it good?
Mm-hmm.
Really?
Very good. Very good. Are you going to have some?
I think so.
Oh.
So you'd recommend the recipe? Yeah? Okay, there you have it, folks.
It's very good.
Right from the official taste tester's mouth. All right. So you're going to have the whole piece?
Yeah.
I thought you're trying to get down to 148.
Yeah, I am.
You're working on it.
Yeah, I'm working on it. Do you want some of this?
You're working hard, right?
Yeah. Do you want some?
I'm going to have some.
Oh.
All right. Have a nice day.